I watched my husband sign the papers that would end our marriage while he was busy texting the woman he actually loved. He didn't even glance at the header. He just scribbled the sharp, jagged signature that had signed death warrants for half of New York, tossed the file onto the passenger seat, and tapped his screen again. "Done," he said, his voice devoid of emotion. That was Dante Moretti, the underboss, a man who could smell a lie from a mile away but couldn't see that his wife had just handed him an annulment decree disguised beneath a stack of mundane logistics reports. For 3 years, I scrubbed his blood out of his shirts. I saved his family's alliance when his ex, Sophia, ran off with a civilian. In return, he treated me like furniture. He left me in the rain to save Sophia from a broken nail. He left me alone on my birthday to drink champagne on a yacht with her. He even handed me a glass of whiskey, her favorite drink, forgetting that I despised the taste. I was merely a placeholder, a ghost in my own home. So, I stopped waiting. I burned our wedding portrait in the fireplace, left my platinum ring in the ashes, and boarded a one-way flight to San Francisco. I thought I was finally free. I thought I had escaped the cage, but I underestimated Dante. When he finally opened that file weeks later and realized he had signed away his wife without looking, the Reaper didn't accept defeat. He burned down the world to find me, obsessed with reclaiming the woman he had already thrown away. Chapter 1. Elena Vidiello, POV. I watched my husband sign the papers that would end our marriage while he was busy texting the woman he actually loved. He didn't even glance at the header. He just scribbled the sharp, jagged signature that had signed death warrants for half the criminal underworld in New York, tossed the file onto the passenger seat, and tapped his screen again. "Done," he said, his voice devoid of any emotion. That was Dante Moretti, the underboss, the Reaper, a man who could smell a lie from a mile away but couldn't see that his wife had just handed him an annulment decree disguised beneath a stack of mundane logistics reports. I sat across from Mia in the high-security cafe, watching the rain streak against the bulletproof glass. My hands were folded in my lap, perfectly still. I was trained to be still. I was the caged canary, the silent Moretti wife. "He signed them?" Mia whispered, her eyes wide with horror and a twisted sort of impressed disbelief. "Just like that?" "He was distracted," I said softly. Sophia was having a crisis about a broken heel or a chipped nail. I don't remember which. Mia slammed her coffee cup down. "He is a monster, Elena. A blind, arrogant monster. You've been scrubbing his blood out of his shirts for 3 years. You saved his family's alliance when that little brat ran off with a civilian. And he treats you like furniture." "Furniture is useful," I corrected her, taking a sip of my tea. It tasted like ash. "I am less than that. I am merely ornamental. A placeholder." I looked out the window. A convoy of black armored SUVs glided to a precision halt at the curb. The pedestrians scattered like pigeons. They knew that formation. They knew who was inside. Dante Moretti didn't just walk into a room. He conquered it. He was the most lethal predator in the city. A man who had taken over the New York Outfits Enforcement Division at 22 and turned it into a machine of absolute terror. He had killed men for looking at me the wrong way, yet he couldn't look at me himself. "He's here," I said. Mia reached for my hand. "Do you have the exit plan?" "San Francisco," I breathed. "Isabella secured the apartment. The flight is in 2 weeks. Until then, I play the part." The cafe door opened. The air pressure in the room seemed to drop. 2 soldiers walked in first, scanning the perimeter with cold, dead eyes. Then Dante entered. He was wearing a charcoal suit that cost more than this building. His dark hair was swept back, revealing a face that was beautiful in the way a thunderstorm is beautiful, destructive, and captivating. He walked straight to my table, ignoring everyone else. "Elena," he said. It wasn't a greeting. It was a command. "Dante," I replied, standing up smoothly. "We are leaving. My mother expects us for dinner." He didn't look at Mia. He turned and walked out, expecting me to follow. I always followed. I gave Mia a small, sad smile and walked into the rain. A soldier held an umbrella over me, but Dante was already inside the SUV. I slid onto the leather seat beside him. The car smelled of expensive cologne, gun oil, and the faint, cloying scent of vanilla perfume. Sophia's perfume! The convoy started moving. The silence in the car was heavy, suffocating. Dante was typing on his phone, his brow furrowed. "That file I signed weeks ago," he said suddenly, not looking up. "The vendor contract for the shipping lines? Did you file it?" My heart slammed against my ribs. Yes, I lied. It's being processed. He hummed, a low vibration in his chest. Good, I don't want any loose ends before they transition. He was becoming Dawn soon. He wanted a clean slate. I was giving him the cleanest slate possible, a life without me. His phone rang. The ringtone was specific. It pierced the quiet like a siren. Dante answered immediately. "Sophia." I looked out the window, counting the raindrops. "Slow down," Dante said, his voice shifting from cold command to something softer, something urgent. "Where are you? Who is there?" He listened for a moment, his jaw tightening. The temperature in the car dropped 10 degrees. "I don't care who his father is," Dante snarled into the phone. "If he touched you, he loses the hand. Stay there. I'm coming." He hung up. He tapped the partition glass. Change of plans. "Go to the meatpacking district." "Dante," I said quietly. "Your mother." He finally looked at me. His eyes were like ice, blue and impenetrable. "Sophia is in trouble. Some street trash cornered her." "She's a capo's daughter," I said, my voice steady. "She has her own guards." "She called me," he said, as if that explained everything, as if that justified stranding his wife in the middle of the city. The car pulled over to the curb. It wasn't the estate. It was a street corner 5 blocks from our home. "Take the second car back," Dante ordered. "I need the team with me." He was kicking me out to go save the woman who had left him at the altar, the woman whose mess I had cleaned up for 3 years. I opened the door. The rain was coming down harder now. "Dante," I said, pausing with one foot on the pavement. "You signed the papers." He looked at me, impatient, his mind already on her. "I know, Alina, you told me. I just wanted to make sure you remembered," I said. I stepped out. The door slammed shut behind me, and the convoy sped away, tires spraying dirty water onto my shoes. I stood there for a moment, watching the taillights disappear, realizing that for the first time in 3 years, I didn't feel the sting of tears. I just felt cold. Elena Vidiello, POV. The penthouse was silent. It was a sprawling glass cage in the sky, overlooking a city that looked like a circuit board of gold and darkness. My phone buzzed on the marble counter. A text from Dante. "Won't be back. Handling the situation. Don't wait up." I didn't reply. I deleted the thread. Then, I went into my contacts and deleted his number. I didn't block him. That would draw attention. I just removed the name. He was nothing more than a string of digits now. I went to the master closet, a mausoleum filled with designer gowns, silk blouses, and shoes that cost more than a mid-sized sedan. I walked past them to the small safe in the back. I punched in the code and took out a burner phone and a flash drive. This was the real Elena. The rest was just a costume. I sat on the floor and began the digital scrub. I logged into the joint accounts and removed my authorization. I canceled the recurring orders for his favorite Barolo. I unlinked my email from the estate's security notifications. Piece by piece, bite by bite, I was erasing myself from the Moretti infrastructure. My finger hovered over the Instagram icon on my personal phone. I shouldn't. I knew I shouldn't. I opened it. Sophia's story was at the top. Of course it was. I tapped it, a photo of a yacht deck, a bucket of crystal-chilled champagne, and in the corner of the frame, a hand resting on the railing. I knew that hand. I knew the scar on the knuckle, the heavy gold signet ring bearing the Moretti crest. "Safe and sound," the caption read. My hero. He wasn't handling a crisis. He was drinking champagne on a boat while his wife sat alone in an empty apartment. It was my birthday. I closed the app as I walked to the kitchen, the silence amplifying the click of my heels on the tile. The staff had left for the night. I had dismissed them early. I opened the fridge. There was nothing prepared. Dante usually ordered from the best Italian restaurant in the city on Fridays, but he wasn't here to order. I found a box of dried pasta and a jar of sauce. I boiled the water. The steam hit my face, hot and damp, mimicking the tears I refused to shed. The front door beeped. I froze. He wasn't supposed to be back. Dante walked in. I looked disheveled, a rare state for him. His tie was loose, his top button undone, his sleeves rolled up to reveal the forearms I used to cling to. But as he moved closer, the scent hit me. He smelled of sea salt and that cloying vanilla perfume. He stopped when he saw me standing over the stove. He held a small white box in his hand, a bakery box. "You're cooking?" he asked, frowning. "I was hungry," I said, my voice flat as I stirred the pasta. He walked over and placed the box on the island. I picked this up on the way back. He opened it. It was a small vanilla cake, generic, no writing. It looked like something an assistant would buy at a grocery store 5 minutes before closing. "Happy birthday," he said. The words felt heavy, forced. I stared at the cake. He remembered, or rather his calendar reminded him, and he felt a twinge of obligation strong enough to stop at a bakery, but not strong enough to stay home. "Thank you," I said. He looked at the pot of boiling pasta, bubbling violently. "That's dinner? For a birthday? It's fine, don't say." "It's pathetic," he muttered. He ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. "Get dressed. We'll go out." "I saw the photo," I said. He paused. His hand fell to his side. "What photo?" "The yacht." Sophia's story. He didn't even flinch. She was shaken up. We needed to get her away from the city for a few hours until the threat was neutralized. It was protocol. Protocol involves champagne? His eyes narrowed, the gold flecks hardening. "Don't start, Alina. I am tired. I spent the last 4 hours cleaning up a mess so the family doesn't look weak. I came home to spend the last hour of your birthday with you. Don't make me regret it." Make him regret it. As if my existence was a burden he graciously tolerated. "I'm not hungry anymore," I said. I reached out and turned off the stove. The bubbling died instantly. His phone rang again. The sharp trill cut through the tension. He looked at the screen and sighed, a sound of pure, unadulterated exhaustion. "I have to take this," he said. "It's the consigliere. It's about Sophia's security detail." "Go," I said. "Elena, go, Dante. It's fine." He hesitated. For a second, I thought he might see me. Really see me. See the woman who had loved him since she was 16. The woman who had written his name in journals and prayed for his safety when he went to war. But he just nodded. "I'll make it up to you." He turned and walked out. I stood in the silence of the kitchen. I looked at the cheap vanilla cake with its waxy white frosting. I reached into the drawer and pulled out a single match. I struck it against the box. The flame flared, bright and hot, consuming the oxygen. I stuck the match into the center of the cake like a candle. "I wish," I whispered to the empty room, watching the flame burn down towards the frosting. "I wish to stop loving you." I blew it out. Smoke curled into the air, gray and vanishing, just like us. Elena Vitiello, POV. The heavy thrum of the music pulsed through the floorboards of the VIP lounge. It was a private club, supposedly neutral ground for the families, but tonight the Morettis had rented the entire top floor. I sat next to Dante on the crushed velvet sofa. His arm was draped along the back of the seat behind, means ever touching me, but aggressively claiming the space. It was a territorial display. "This is mine. Do not touch." The room was thick with smoke and the sharp clink of expensive crystal. The capos were laughing while the soldiers stood like statues by the doors. It was a celebration of the Alliance anniversary. "All right, bring it out," someone shouted over the noise. A heavy wooden box was heaved onto the central table. The time capsule. 5 years ago, during a truce party, the younger generation of the families had written letters to their future selves. It was a stupid tradition, something Sophia had insisted on back when she was the center of Dante's world. I felt a prickle of cold sweat break out on my neck. I had forgotten about this. Let's see who predicted the future. Mako, one of Dante's soldiers, laughed as he cracked the seal. He pulled out a folded piece of paper. Sophia wants to be a movie star. Laughter rippled through the room. Sophia wasn't here yet. She was always late. Marco reached in and pulled out another one. He unfolded it, and then he froze. He paused. He looked at me, then at Dante. The drunken grin faded from his face. "Read it," Dante commanded, taking a slow sip of his whiskey. Marco cleared his throat, shifting uncomfortably. It's from Elena." Dante glanced at me. I stared straight ahead, my nails digging crescents into my palms. "Read it," Danny repeated, his voice lower, leaving no room for argument. Marco unfolded the paper completely. His voice was hesitant. "I don't know if he will ever see me. I'm just a shadow in the corner of the room, but today, he looked at me. He saved me from the riot in the East End. He doesn't know my name, but I know his. I love him. I love Dante Moretti. I pray that one day I can be the one to wash the blood from his hands, even if he never loves me back." The silence in the room was absolute. It was heavier than the bass, louder than the shouting had been moments before. I felt stripped naked. 5 years ago, I was a naive girl with a diary. Now, those words hung in the air like a confession of a crime. Dante slowly set his glass down. He turned his head to look at me. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes were wide, stunned. It was the first time I had ever seen him look truly struck, like he had been punched in the gut. He opened his mouth to speak. "Elena." My phone didn't ring. His did. It shattered the moment like glass. Dante flinched. He looked at the screen. He didn't answer it immediately. He looked at me again, searching my face, looking for the girl who wrote that letter. The phone rang again, and again. "Boss," Marco whispered, the tension palpable. "It might be urgent," Dante answered. He put it on speaker. "Dante, help me, please." Sophia's voice shrieked through the quiet room. "They have guns. I'm at the warehouse district. They're going to kill me." The shock vanished from Dante's face. It was replaced instantly by the mask of the Reaper. The beast woke up. He stood up so fast the table shook. "Marco, get the team, now." "Dante," I said, my voice barely a whisper. He didn't hear me. He was already moving, checking the clip in his handgun. He was a blur of lethal motion. "Stay here," he barked at me over his shoulder. "Don't move." He ran out the door, his soldiers swarming after him. The room was suddenly empty, save for a few confused waiters. I walked to the balcony. The rain had stopped. I looked down at the street. I saw Dante burst out of the club entrance. I saw him pistol whip a bouncer who was too slow to get out of his way. He jumped into his car, tires smoking as he peeled out. I watched him go. He had heard the depth of my soul, the raw, bleeding truth of my love for him. And the moment another woman cried wolf, he left me in the silence. He didn't rush out to save family. He rushed out because he couldn't breathe if she wasn't breathing. I took the letter from the table. I tore it in half, then in half again. I dropped the pieces into an ashtray and lit them on fire. "Goodbye, Dante," I whispered. To read the full story, download MobaReader and search for 609555 and dive into the novel. #609555 #MOBOReader.